What are some ways that maybe people who've had some struggles in the past could improve their credit?
Yeah, that's actually an incredible question. I'm glad you asked it. One thing, first things first, life happens. Do not beat yourself up. Beating yourself up does not help you here. So life happens. Everybody has an instance in life where it didn't go as planned. So one, don't beat yourself up and don't be embarrassed at the situation that you're in.
Welcome to Small Biz Connect, where we talk all things small biz. I'm Amy Reed, the host, director of the Galveston County and the San Jacinto College SBDCs. Small Business Development Centers are funded through the SBA federal funding as well as the state of Texas, where we provide no cost business advice and no to low cost workshop. Today, we are joined by David Polier with AMOCO Federal Credit Union. And David, I just want you to tell everybody a little bit about your role and what you do at AMOCO.
Awesome. That's I wish I could wrap that up in 30 minutes or less, but I guess we have some time, so I'll make it short. My name is David Polier, as Amy just said, and I'm with AMOCO Federal Credit Union. I'm a business development officer with them. So what that means is I do a little bit of everything as far as the marketing side goes. I'm in the community, just representing the brand. I work with our business partners. We call them select employee groups, or SEGs for short. I keep that relationship strong with multiple SEG groups throughout my region. So I cover a large area of the Galveston County area map and some of Brazoria County. And we do our best just to get the word out on who we are and what we do. AMOCO Federal Credit Union is an incredible organization. We offer banking products. I'm sure a lot of you guys may have heard of us. If you haven't, we're a credit union like any other, but we're better than that because of what we do in the community and what we believe the community deserves. So, and that's short and sweet.
So, David, tell me about why credit is important both to individuals and small businesses.
Credit is very important, especially in today's economy, because it's hard to buy things cash, right? Things are getting more expensive. We know that. The reasons for that are never ending, right? It could be because of something going on politically. It could be because of something going on as far as supply and demand. So things are becoming more expensive. Cars are more expensive. Houses are more expensive. Vacations are more expensive, and these things can't be bought straight with cash. If you can, that's incredible, good for you, but most of us aren't there yet, right? And that's okay. Credit is important because to do those things, we have to be able to pay them over time. And having good credit allows you to be approved for those things. Having good credit makes those things cheaper. If you don't know, interest rates also go up, but the better your credit score, the lower those interest rates can be for you. So all of those things combined can make it one, accessible, and then two, cheaper. Whether if you're starting a business, your credit's going to be based off your personal credit because your business hasn't earned any credit yet. On the personal side of things, if you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a home, I know I kind of went over that, but it just can't be said enough. It is so expensive, and you have to be able to pay it over time.
So, what does make up a credit score?
A lot of things. So, credit score is made up of one, your ability to pay over time. So, what the way that I describe this is kind of off what your question is, but the way that I've described credit to the people who I've helped with credit, prior to what I'm doing now, I used to be a branch manager. So I did a lot of credit. I was a loan officer slash branch manager. I did a little bit of everything. And I would describe in layman terms, credit is how your credit score is how risky you are to the credit union or to the bank or whoever it is you're borrowing from. If we give you this money, how do I know I'm getting this money back, right? Your credit score is made up of your ability to pay people back. That takes time. It's not overnight, but your ability to pay people back is a big part of credit. Another thing is how much credit do you have and how much are you using? Credit cards is really important when it comes to that step. If I have $10,000 worth of credit cards and I'm maxed out on all of those cards, I can't give you more credit, right? You can't afford this credit. So one, your ability to pay people back. Two, your ability to show restraint with the credit that you have. And then 3 and 4 are pretty simple. 3 is gonna be, a mixture of credit, right? You can't just have all credit cards and nothing else. You need a car loan, you need a home loan, you need a person. Then 4 is just the length of that credit. How long have you had it for, and how long has it been good? And caveat 5 is, you haven't missed any payments, right? So that kinda goes hand in hand with the ability to make payments, but missing payments also affects your credit, and that goes into your score as well.
So, I think that credit is one of those things like taxes that people they know they have to deal with, but they don't really always want to deal with it and that sort of thing. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions that people think about credit. Can you talk about a couple of those?
Yes, I actually grew up in a family that had a huge misconception on credit. One of the things we know is that it's not taught in schools, right, the way that it should be, which is why so many people are working on doing things like this podcast and financial education in general. But I grew up in a family that was, if you don't have the cash, you can't afford it kind of family. And that's just simply not true or possible anymore. Maybe that worked in the 80s, 90s, but in the 2010s, 2020s, things are just so expensive and wages haven't gone up to meet the cost of those things. And one of the things people are scared of is credit cards. People are terrified of credit cards. People are terrified of getting a car loan because they think if I can't afford it, I can't afford it, and that's the end of the story. One of the biggest misconceptions I see is people telling you to stay away from credit cards. That's one that I see a lot. I've had people come in my office and tell me credit cards are evil. I've had people come in and have everything on their credit except a credit card. I think a big misconception is people thinking credit cards can't help you. And that's just not true. One of the fastest ways to build your credit is showing restraint on a credit card and having a credit card. While it is true, one of the fastest ways to ruin your credit is a credit card. The fastest way to build is also a credit card, right? It's going to build a little faster, and it's so flexible. You can do so many things with them. You can get rewards points on a credit card. You can get cash back on a credit card. You can pay credit cards off monthly, and you never have to pay interest. And there's so many tools and tricks to a credit card that people don't know that I feel like if it was common knowledge, we would all be better off. So, big misconception is one, credit cards aren't evil. If you use them correctly, you're more than fine. And then two, credit isn't evil. You have to have it to survive. Especially I might be going too long. It's a long-winded answer, but uh, I knew I have contacts that work in car dealerships and things of that nature, and people will walk in to buy a car and they've never financed anything. You can't finance a car if you've never financed. You're a ghost. And yes, you've paid everything up to today in cash, but do you have $32,000 for a new car to buy cash? Do you have $300,000 to buy a home? And so people are scared of credit, but they don't understand it's necessary. It's 100% necessary.
I totally agree with you. And one of the things that I love now is it's so easy to monitor your credit. So I check it all the time. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of those people. I'm very paranoid about my credit. I'm always trying to improve my credit. Credit is power. I feel like if you have good credit, you have so much power. Anytime I buy a car, I know when I walk in, I have negotiating power because I know how good my credit is.
Mm.
So it's one of those things that I really keep to heart. And Amoco and other financial institutions have done a great job by every time I open my Amoco app, I can see what my credit score is.
Yes.
Right. And I can click on it. It can tell me where I can improve. It can tell me where the score came from as far as credit utilization and everything else. So I love that. But if someone were to print their credit report, the full report, what are maybe top three things that they should look at on that report?
One, this is going to kind of encompass all three things, but one is accuracy. That's one thing that we like to see on credit reports. So when we pull credit and we look at it, one of the things we want to know is how accurate that is. Is my address on file correct? Is my social security number being reported correctly? Is everything on here true? Because that's one way to catch fraud. I'm not going to get into fraud today. We don't have the time, but if there's something on there that wasn't you, somebody has taken advantage of your social security number, right? Somebody has stolen your identity. If there's something, and on the flip side, if there's something on there that you know you did and it's not there, it's not being reported correctly. So accuracy is huge. Caveated to accuracy, if you live on 123 Alphabet Lane and it's listed as 123 Alphabet Court, you're probably okay, right? I don't want everyone, it doesn't have to be by the book, 100% encyclopedic, but you do want it to be close and you want it to be as accurate as possible. Two, you're gonna wanna make sure, you're gonna wanna look at your increase. I like to tell people to look at increase. Anytime you run your credit as a hard pull, not a soft pull, anytime your credit is ran as a hard pull, you'll see that for 2 years on that credit report. So you wanna make sure that list isn't getting too long. The more inquiries you have, the more red flags that raises to creditors because it shows you applying all over the place. It could make you a little bit more of a flight risk, um, et cetera. So that's there. And then three, you're gonna wanna look at your derogatories to see if there's anything there. Because you may not know, anytime you miss a payment on something, a missed payment is anything considered 30 days or more. So if you miss something by 1 or 2 days, you're okay. Make sure you pay it within 30 days or it will be reported to the credit bureaus. If you wanna make sure if you have paid anything wrong, that it's now showing as good. If you're caught up and clean, you wanna make sure it's still showing as good. It'll still show as derogatory for 7 years after the missed payment, but it will show as caught up. So you want to make sure it's showing as caught up. Or if it's not caught up, you want to see where you are as far as reporting goes. The only thing I want to throw in there is credit reports don't automatically update. So understand that it could take 30 to 60 days from either making a payment, missing a payment, or adding a loan for any of that information to show up on your report. So if you pull your report and look at it and it doesn't show something that you opened 2 weeks ago, breathe. It's okay. It'll take some time. But yeah, I would look at one, accuracy. Two, I would look at make sure that your inquiries aren't too long. And then three, I would look at derogatories.
Does it hurt your credit to pull your credit?
So yes and no. So one thing I do want to plug here is annualcreditreport.com. That's a huge website. It's not .gov, not .org. There's a lot of websites that promise to do what annualcreditreport.com does. Annualcreditreport.com is the real deal. We recommend using that at least 3 times a year. So if you do not know, if the credit is completely foreign to you, there's 3 major credit bureaus that report your credit for you. I'm not going to get into the intricacies of why they're different and who they are, but one is Equifax, one is TransUnion, and one is Experian. By pulling your credit report through annualcreditreport.com, you have access to each one of those bureaus completely for free with no card information. You do not have to pay, completely for free once a year. What I recommend doing is pulling one each quarter or so. Can give it some time, right? I know there's 4 quarters and 3 bureaus, but kind of make it work. And pull one, don't pull all 3 at one time. People do that, and they have to wait a year to pull them again. Pull one, doesn't matter which one. Pick Equifax. That's just always the first that I go for no particular reason. So pull Equifax, wait a few months, pull TransUnion, wait a few months, pull Experian, and now we're back at the beginning of the next calendar year, and you can do the 3 again. That does not hurt your report at all. It's completely for free. It's government mandated. You have to do it. Or they have to provide it to you once a year. That does not hurt your credit whatsoever. It does not give you a credit score. Some people only care about the score. I argue that your report is just as, if not more important than the score. So it gives you your report. You keep up with what's on there and you can know what you're doing. And knowledge is power. I know my credit report looks good. So no, that doesn't hurt. Now, pulling your credit score outside of there is like Credit Karma and AMOCO offers, a credit program as well. Those don't affect you, but anytime you run your credit as a hard inquiry, it does affect your credit. How much? It's dependent on how often you do it. You pull your credit once or twice a year, you might see a dip of a point, if that. You pull your credit 10 to 15 times a year, one, you're a red flag, your inquiries are getting longer like we spoke about, and that 1 to 2 points times 15 could be more, right? So I recommend only pulling your credit when if you know you are going to apply for something. And then use annualcreditreport.com for everything else.
Yeah, and then I use that all the time. I check it usually 2 times a year, I'll be honest. I don't think I usually do 3, but I do it semi-annually,
Yeah,
basically. And when you are applying for credit somewhere, I always ask, is this going to be a hard inquiry? How many times are you gonna pull my credit? I recently bought a vehicle, and I asked them, "How many times are you gonna pull my credit?" They said nobody ever asked that. Now, I wanna know, are you gonna pull it once, or do you have to pull it for everyone you're gonna run it through? Otherwise, I'm gonna tell you who I'm
Yes,
financing.
exactly.
Right, I'm gonna take control, and I think that's one of the biggest things with credit is people feel they don't have the control. So you have to take control of your credit, and you have to be knowledgeable, so you ask those right questions. But I wanna jump to maybe someone who had problems with their credit over time. A lot of people, they 18 and you start getting all those, offers and but you don't have a job that can take care of the credit to pay the bills, so you get behind, right? So what are some ways that maybe people who've had some struggles in the past could improve their credit?
Yeah, that's actually an incredible question. I'm glad you asked it. One thing, first things first, life happens. Do not beat yourself up. Beating yourself up does not help you here. So life happens. Everybody has an instance in life where it didn't go as planned. So one, don't beat yourself up and don't be embarrassed at the situation that you're in. Um, what I recommend doing is looking into credit unions are really good at this. Not to shamelessly plug ourselves, AMOCO does this as well. Some places offer specific products for the building of credit or for the mending of credit. So AMOCO offers a credit builder loan for those who don't have credit yet and are looking to build, and a credit mender loan for those who have room for opportunity in their credit, right? There's room to grow, room to fix. So, what that is similar to any other institution that offers like a secured loan of any kind. So, you're going to want to look for things that offer secured options because those are more likely to be approved. What that means is you're putting cash down up. A secured credit card means you're putting cash down. Here's my $500. Here's my $1,000, whatever the secured limit is. And if I don't pay my credit card, you get to keep that money, right? So you know the money's good, but I'm still getting reported to credit. It doesn't report to credit any differently than a regular credit card would. So it's like you have a regular credit card. It's like you have a regular loan, because it's being reported as a regular loan, but there's security involved to where there's no risk for the credit union and there's no risk for you. Well, there's a risk if you don't pay it, it'll report as not paid. But there's less of a risk for you because you have more incentive because you want your money back. Because in the event that you pay this credit card for 12 months, 10 to 12 months, um, I usually tell people aim for the 12 months or so. You go back to the credit union, you go back to whoever is financing the secured loan or secured credit card and say, "Hey, I'm ready for this to be unsecured," or I'm ready to evolve my credit to the next step." In the event you get approved, we give you your money back. You lost no money in this situation, and now your credit looks a little better today than it did a year ago. So I always recommend something like that. Our secured loans and secured credit cards are a little different than our credit builder, credit mender. Our credit mender is similar in the fact that we take money and put it to the side for you, but you're not putting money up front. In the event we're not giving you money up front either. You're basically paying into a savings account of sorts. And then when you're done paying the loan, we give you all the money you paid, and now your credit looks better. So it's a little different than secured, but it's similar in practice. So I recommend going to a credit union that you trust, going to a credit union that you love, because those are more often going to provide those that, not to say anything bad about big banks. Big banks don't look into anything that doesn't make a profit. These loans don't make the credit union a lot of money. We do it as a service to our membership. So I would recommend a credit union that you trust and seeing what they can do for you.
Yeah, I love credit unions too, but I have seen some community banks who've had programs like
Yeah,
that as well. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
so definitely just do your research and that type of thing. I do also want to say, I had a client who told me that one way that they really improved their credit was they took whatever was due that month and they split it in half.
Okay.
So if the bill was $50 a month they need to pay on a credit card, they would pay 25 on the 1st and then 25 on the 15th when the actual due date was the 15th. And they saw that they cut their interest, which is great,
Mhm.
and it improved their credit score pretty quickly. Have you seen that?
So there's more than one way to pet a cat, right?
Okay.
So there's no wrong way. That actually works. One, with a credit card, it's a little funny because as long as you pay the entire balance before the at the statement due date, you don't pay any interest on the credit card. So
Mhm.
the first and the 15th method works because regardless of how they got there by the 15th, right? So that's perfect. On a loan that's not a credit cards run differently. So they're kind of outliers in that situation. But like a personal loan, a car loan, a home loan, you accrue interest daily. I'm not gonna get into the math today, we just don't
Right.
have the time, but you accrue interest daily, so the more often you make payments, the more you're cutting into that interest, so that's absolutely a strategy, 100% a strategy. Some places even let you pay biweekly as part of your normal payment pattern. You can decide to make your payment in half because we don't, as long as we get the money by the due date, we don't care how it got there. You could pay for 30 days, you could pay $10 a day for 30 days as long as you get to where you need to go, right? But as long as the money gets there by the due date. But some places will say, "Hey, instead of doing, 30 payments, we'll do 60 payments and we'll just do it every 15 days." So, whatever works for you. Some people budget that way and that works for them. Other people don't want it to come out of their checks every 2 weeks or, it's all prerogative. So, yes, absolutely. That's a great strategy and it eats into interest and it does save you money in the long term.
So I also heard you mention earlier you were talking about debt utilization, right? So what is the ideal ratio to have for debt?
So rule of thumb is 30% of your credit limits. So if you have credit cards, it's not really, this doesn't apply to personal loans or home loans because when you first start, you have 100% credit utilization. There's nothing you could do there. But on a credit card, to keep math easy, if you have a $1,000 limit, you want to keep that rolling balance at 30% or less, so $300 or less in that case. The best thing to do is pay it off because that's under 30%. 0% is under 30. That's always, some people think you have to carry a balance with you. That's not necessarily true. Anything under 30% is under 30%. So we recommend paying it off because you don't pay any interest. The end goal is to keep it as cheap as possible. But if you can't pay it off for that month, can you get it down to 30% or less? On $1,000 card, $300. Some people think that means don't use more than $300. No, you can use your card to its fullest potential, but when it's time to pay, can we get it down to that $300? Can we get it there? If I can't, I used $500. If I can't pay back 500, can I pay back 200? Can I get there? So 30% is a rule.
I think that's great way you explained it, and it was very simple terms. I thank you for that because I think a lot of times people are really kind of confused about debt utilization.
Mhm.
So let's also take another turn for people who are they're trying to improve their credit, they're trying to do everything right. What are some things that like mistakes people may make, but actually, they think they're helping their credit, but they're hurting their credit?
Oh, credit is an art and not a science. So I tell people that up front that the more you think about it, the less you feel it makes sense. We tell you to have a mixture of things, but we don't want you going and applying for everything you can think of. So you have a car, you have a house, you have a loan, you have a credit card. Just because you feel like your credit isn't growing fast enough doesn't mean going to open more things. There's a fine line. Unfortunately, there's not a scientific method to that fine line. I can't tell you open 3 credit cards exactly. It's going to be dependent on your own credit mixture and your income and things of that nature. But uh, you don't want to have nothing on your name, but you don't want to have too much on your name either. By having too much, unfortunately, your credit utilization goes down and the ability to afford more credit in the event you need it goes down. So I recommend borrowing what you can, as opposed to borrowing what right? So that's my biggest mistake I see people make is, "Oh, I have Reed for 2 more credit cards. Let me go get those." Or a big one we see, they're not the end of the world, but big one I see that I recommend people kinda stay is department store cards. They're very expensive. They're very brutal as far as late fees, and their mercy window, isn't very large, right? There you get a late fee day 1 as opposed to, like, a credit union or a bank, which may only charge you a late fee after 30 days or so. So, and their interest rates start in the high 20s as opposed to a credit union or bank where you can get 10% depending on your credit worthiness. So department store cards are also something scary. Yeah, you save 10% today, but is that worth it over the course of time? So, there's a big one I see.
Thank you for that. So, small business, that's mainly who our listeners are. We have a lot of them. So they're probably thinking, okay, this is great for my individual credit, but how does this affect my business?
Yes. So, um, I'm not an expert in business lending, so I won't tell you as far as once your business becomes larger and it's time. I don't want to mislead or lead anybody astray. But when you first start a business, your business doesn't have credit. So your personal credit is what you're basing, especially when you're a small. Like if you're a the small businesses that run America sometimes are DBAs that aren't even using an EIN. It's somebody using their own social to promote their own business. If you're using your own social, that's your own credit. So, the ability to borrow for the business in the event you're in a business that sells things, right? Products, and you have to be able to purchase product. You have to be able to buy things. And if you don't have the cash flow for that, if your cash flow either isn't positive or isn't enough, you may need to borrow in the meantime. So, a business loan of some kind would be affected by your personal credit. If your personal credit's not where it needs to be, we can't let your business borrow. Or in the event your business isn't to the size of borrowing in its own name, that's coming out of your pocket. So, the ability to borrow is important because you never know when you're going to need it. So, having good credit, having strong credit, while also having uh, room for more credit is really important because you never know when you need it for a supply line. If you're a bakery, you never know if you need it to purchase more, more bread or more whatever tree and ensues. Or if you make clothing, you need to be able to buy bulk orders of T-shirts or something along those lines. And if you don't have the cash for it, you need to borrow. So having strong personal credit allows you to start. And then once your business is able to establish some credit, it's also based off your personal credit. You'll be able to transfer over and then begin building credit in the businesses.
I think that's one nugget that everybody can take because so often someone sits across the desk and they don't realize that their personal credit is going to affect them being able to get business credit or even be able to start that business.
Mhm.
So I thank you for that. What's one thing that people an action item they could take today? Just one thing they could do to help improve their credit.
Seeing where their credit is, knowing where your credit is. I think if you, you know, nailed me down and said one thing immediately without me getting any prep time, I would say know where you are. Know where you are because you may have incredible credit and you don't even know it, or you may have room for opportunity and you don't even know it. So I definitely recommend going to annualcreditreport.com or maybe getting with the credit, uh, with AMCO and other credit unions and banks offer you a credit wise or an ability to see your credit score. I would do a mixture of those. I would get your credit score and I would get your credit report and see where you are. That's the best. Knowledge is power.
So one last question is how can people connect with either you or Amoco Federal Credit Union in general?
AMOCO is well, with me, don't. I'm kidding. No, if you wanna connect with me, I have a LinkedIn, which is where my primary, social media is. I have a LinkedIn under my name, David Polier, Polier is how you spell that, and I'm sure there'll be links to that in the background. Or you can get with AMOCO Federal Credit Union through multiple ways. You can walk into a branch. We have multiple branches all over the Galveston County area. We have one in Harris County, one in Brazoria County, and growing. We had a new branch open this calendar year. We had a major remodel to another branch just a few months ago. So we are growing and we're excited about that growth. Walking into a branch is a great way of getting with us. We also have online banking. So we have a website, amocofcu.org, is a great place to go to get in contact with us. And then from there, you have the ability to email us or have somebody get back to you. You can call our phone bank, and then a member of that can get you by either answering or calling you back in the event that our phone lines are busy. You can also easily, we have video banking. So if the event that you can't come in, you can go to our website, set up an appointment, and somebody can FaceTime you from a webcam, and get with you there. There's so many ways. There's so many ways.
Not to
Yeah,
then to
you almost have to avoid us, you know? So, yeah, if you wanted to get in contact with us, there's a million ways, technology you can get with us over the phone, you can get with us through a computer and just walking in. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get with us.
Well, David, I appreciate you being on the show today and all the valuable information you gave about credit. I think it's one of those scary topics, but it's much needed, and we appreciate your knowledge.
Well, I appreciate you having us. This is great. I'm glad you guys are doing this for the community. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to Small Biz Connect, where small biz meets big ideas. Make sure you subscribe on all of our channels, and until next time.